It's officially fall, so let's make some fun fall DIYs. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well today. So it is officially fall and I could not be more excited. It is a gorgeous day outside. I have just made a latte with maple butter from Trader Joe's, which is like the whipped maple syrup. It is so delicious and I absolutely love it. I keep putting it in my coffee. And I thought today would be the perfect day to work on some fun, cozy fall DIY and craft projects to decorate my apartment and show you a few ideas that I've had for this season. I'll be making 4 different projects today and they're all kind of this woodland, cozy cottage type of style, which I absolutely love. So I really hope you'll enjoy seeing all of them. And let's go ahead and get started with the first one, which will be this cute pumpkin pillow. I've been seeing pumpkin pillows everywhere this year. I even got this one from Target a few weeks ago, but I thought it would be really fun to make my own. And I had this thrifted skirt in this really pretty autumnal color palette that I just had sitting around, and I thought it would be so cute made into a pumpkin pillow. So let me show you how I made this. So to make this adorable pillow, you could really use any fabric, but I'm going to repurpose this thrifted skirt. And I made a little template for the segments of the pumpkin. This is 6 inches across at the widest point and 8 inches long, and I will be folding it over and using it for each half of the segment. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down and cut out 8 of these segment pieces. And with all 8 pieces cut out, I can put these together with the right sides together in pairs and then just sew across one of those curved sides with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now we're left with 4 pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and open these out and place 2 of them with the right sides together to create each half of the pumpkin. So once we finish sewing this next set of seams, we'll be left with 2 pieces. And finally, I can sew the 2 halves of the pumpkin together, and don't worry about there being no way to turn this right side out. We're going to cut a little hole in the top in a minute. Now, one thing that I neglected to do that is really important is to make sure to do a lot of back stitching, because we are going to cut a little hole in the top about the size of the stem that we'll make later. So I just kind of freehanded this and cut a little bit across the top, but I wish I had back stitched because my seams did start to pull. And now with everything turned right side out, I can go ahead and add my polyfill. And I really like to take my time and work pretty slowly when I add the polyfill to make sure that I get the shape that I want. So I'm trying to focus it a little bit more on the seams to create more of that segmented look. I think there are a lot of ways you could make a stem for your pumpkin pillow. What I decided to do was use a little bit of hot glue and some yarn and just wrap this around a little piece of polyfill to create a stem shape. So I just secured it with hot glue at the base and then continued to add a little bit more hot glue to secure it as I went along. Then once I got to the top, I trimmed away the excess polyfill and then just glued this into a spiral. Now using a needle and thread, I went ahead and sewed some running stitches around the top of the pillow so that I could pull this together. And I did end up switching later to use some yarn because it was a little bit hard for my thread to hold with the pressure that this pillow is under. But I went ahead and knotted that together and put the stem in the middle. And then I came back in with some leftover yarn and did the same exact thing and just sewed around the top, pulling really taut and really tightly, and then knotting that yarn together once I got all of my stitches sewn. Then to attach the stem, I just kind of repeated the process, sewing around the top of the pumpkin, but then occasionally sewing it through the stem, and this secured it really nice and tightly. The pillow that I have from Target, I think is actually glued together. I think this is a little bit more secure, and you could really just sew until you feel really good about the strength of it. And then once I got to the end, I knotted my yarn together and trimmed those threads, and this pillow was done. I love how this little pillow turned out, and I think it's the perfect cozy addition to my bedding. I love how this little pillow turned out, and I think it looks so cute with my bedspread. The colors go really well together, and it's the perfect little cozy fall addition for my bedroom. Now, as much as I would love to sit around sewing and crafting all day, every day, I have been trying to change up my morning routine lately to be a little bit more healthy and active by incorporating exercise back into my life. And I've really fallen out of the habit of exercise over the past several months because back in the beginning of the year, I hurt my knee, and normally running and jogging is what I do to keep active. So I've had to redirect a little bit, and that is where Trainwell comes in, who are the sponsor of today's video. So Trainwell is an app that combines the personalization and accountability of a human expert with technology, and I have found it to be a really good fit for me over the past month. Through the app, a virtual trainer will create the perfect plan for you, taking into account your goals and any injuries, and make a workout program that you can really stick to. So the way Trainwell works is you start out by having an onboarding call with an actual personal trainer, and my trainer is named Jay, and she is so helpful and informative and encouraging. And something that I really loved about this is you get to ask any questions, talk about your goals, and have somebody personalize everything specifically to you. And then along with that, you have texting ability with your trainer through the app, and so you can check in with them or they can check in with you. You can give direct feedback every time you complete a workout, and I found that so helpful. So for example, I had one workout where some of the exercises were a little bit hard on my knee, the one that I had injured, and she gave me great feedback on how to adjust that specifically for me. And another feature that I love about Trainwell is that there is that built-in accountability. So I know if I skip one of my workouts in my plan, my trainer will know about it and she'll check in with me, and it's just really helpful to know that there's somebody else paying attention to your goals that's outside of your life. So for me, Trainwell has been such a great solution to kickstart a fitness routine, and if it sounds like it would be helpful for you as well, you can get a 14-day free trial of Trainwell. That includes that onboarding call with your personal trainer and personalized workout plan by clicking the link down in the description box and signing up for that free trial. So be sure to check it out if you're interested. Thank you again so much to Trainwell for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into the next DIY project. So this next project is a garland, and I really wanted to have a fall leaf garland in my apartment, but the leaves haven't quite all started to change yet, so it's a little early for that. So I thought making some watercolor foliage would be really fun, and let me show you how I put this together. So this garland is super simple and is just going to start with some watercolor paper and my ancient set of watercolors that I'm pretty sure I've had since college. So I just drew out a bunch of botanical shapes. I did some maple leaves, some oak leaves, some acorns, and then I'm just going to give it these a little wash of watercolor. So I am only using one shade for each leaf. I tried and experimented with a little bit more variety, but I actually liked the way this looked with more of just the wash of color. So I used red for the maple leaves, and then I used a mix of yellow and brown on the oak leaves, and then yellow and brown for the acorns, and then a mix of red and brown for some small kind of filler leaves. One of the nice things about this project is you really can't mess it up. Watercolors are very forgiving, and even if you paint outside the lines, we're about to chop everything up. So now that we spent all of this time meticulously painting, we're going to cut out all of our leaves. So I have my paper scissors, and I'm just carefully cutting all of these pieces out. now you're left with this fun little pile of leaves and acorns, and I'm going to go ahead and attach these to some battery powered lights. So I got these at Michael's and I like that they have the copper wire, and I'm just going to go in and attach the leaves with hot glue. So some of them I glued over the lights so that they kind of glow through. I would just make sure that you have lights that don't get warm if you're going to do this. And sometimes I kind of glued the wires together just to make everything as secure as possible. And this is how it started to look. I absolutely love the way this came together. I think it gives such a nice glow to the fireplace mantle, and I think it looks a little bit more glowy in person too, but the leaves look so cute and just give a little festive touch to the room. I'm trying to choose a cute frame TV artwork for the fall season, so I got a few on Etsy. Let me show you what my favorites are, and please let me know what you think is the cutest. I think this garland might be my favorite project from this entire video and collection of projects. I want to make more of them to put in other places in my apartment. I love the little bit of autumn glow that it brings to my fireplace, and I'm just so excited to be looking at it all season long. Now this next project is a little bit more of a Halloween themed project, and these are some adorable air dry clay ghosts, and I've put dried flowers all over the outside, so they're little floral ghosts, and then these go over a battery powered tea light, so they're like the little glowing ghost light, which I think is so cute. Now I got the inspiration for these ghosts from a TikTok account called Sibster Made, and I will be sure to link to the original video in the description box down below, but I did do a little bit of my own spin on them. For this project, I decided to use air dry clay, and then I also got some pressed flowers just off of Amazon. You could definitely make your own. I was just feeling like ordering them this time. So I started by rolling a little ball of clay and then just rolling this out on a plate to protect my work surface. And I don't have a clay specific rolling pin, so I'm just going to use a coffee mug today, and it worked perfectly fine. We're saving money here and just going the cheaper route. And now we can repurpose that coffee mug to use to hold a little bit of water, and I'm just using some water to smooth out the clay with my fingers. This is something I really like about the air dry clay as opposed to oven bake clay. I like that it has the smoothing with water capabilities. Now to turn this into a little ghost, we are going to use a very high-tech method called crumbling up paper towels. So I have about 1.5 paper towels here, and I'm just crumbling these up into a nice little ghost type of shape and then draping the clay over the top. I'll go ahead and use the water in my hands just to mold this until I'm happy with the shape, and then it will be ready to set aside to dry. Of course, our little ghost friend needs a face, so I'm just using the back end of a paintbrush to punch some holes in the clay to create eyes and a little mouth. So now I can go ahead and set this one aside to dry, but by the magic of actually planning ahead, I have one dry and ready to go ahead and finish. So to add the flowers to this, I'm going to start by using some Mod Podge and just painting it onto the surface of the clay. Now I found what worked best for this is to work in really small sections because the Mod Podge does dry quite quickly. I honestly wish I had a bigger paintbrush for this. I just have 2 tiny paintbrushes right now, so that might work a little bit better. But I went ahead and spread on the Mod Podge, and then I used the tweezers that came with the flowers just to drop the flowers where I wanted them on the little ghost. And then once I was happy with the placement, I came back in with the Mod Podge and just painted over the top of all of the flowers to seal them in place. And this dries clear and it has a high gloss finish, so it looks really good once it's done. It almost acts like a glaze. And then for the lights, I'm just using these little battery operated tea lights that I had in my Christmas decor, and I think the final result is so fun. You really don't have to be perfect with these, and I think they would be a great project for kids as well, and I really enjoyed making them. I think they look so cute on the table. I just love how these turned out. I feel like they're a little cottagey Halloween decoration, which is so much more my style than really creepy. I like a little bit of spooky cottage, but nothing too much. So I love how they turned out, and I think they're so fun. And then the last project for today's video is a fun one. I am making these little miniature paintings that are actually refrigerator magnets. And for this project, I was inspired by Pretty in the Pines over on TikTok. I think she did this a few years ago. But again, I put a little bit of my own spin on it. So let me show you how I made these. I love how they turned out. For this project, you could do this several ways, but here's how I did it. I used these mini frames from Michaels and then some gold rub and buff and then some magnets I got off of Amazon, a little bit of Mod Podge, and then I have all of these greeting cards that I've collected from museums. 2 of these are from my local art museum, and I just think they're so pretty, so I thought this would be a fun way to use them. So I'm starting by using some rub and buff just to turn my frame gold. I just like to use a paper towel, kind of a mix of a paper towel and a paintbrush on this, and I did this on the 3 little mini frames that I had. And here are all of my frames now that they are gold, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass and then cut out my pictures to fit the frames. I loved this one that has the apple trees on it. I thought it had kind of an autumnal feel, so that's what inspired me to work on this project. And I just used the glass from the frame to cut out the picture to size. So now I'm just going to pop these into the frames, and then we'll be ready to add a little bit of Mod Podge. So the Mod Podge gives it almost a painting-like look, so I'm just going to add some to the surface and then use little tiny brush strokes to create more of a hand-painted type of look. So as this dries down, it'll give it some nice texture and gloss, but it will also look like little paintbrush strokes because it is paintbrush strokes. So I think it adds a nice detail. And once you can't see any of the picture anymore, this is ready to go and dry. So I went ahead and did the other 2. I decided to use the apple tree again on one of the other frames, and then I also made one with this lovely lady sitting at the piano. So I went ahead and let those dry, and then it was time to add some magnets. I found that this worked a lot better if I used hot glue to add the magnets. You'll see me just using the adhesive here, but those did fall off, so I went ahead and re-glued those on. And I also removed anything from the back of the frame that was really thick or textured so that it would sit more easily on the refrigerator. And there you can see kind of the texture that's almost like a painting, and here is how they look on my fridge. I just think they're so cute and add a really fun element to this little corner. I think that the Mod Podge gives these such a nice texture, and it's such a great way to use these little greeting cards from museums. So I'm really pleased with these, and they just make a little cute art gallery on my refrigerator. So that is all of the DIY projects for today's video, but I want to show you something that I've been working on for a little while, and you've actually gotten a little hint of it already in this video. Let me open this box up really quickly. So for a while now, I've been wanting to create kind of like a cozy sewing themed crew neck sweatshirt, and that's actually what I'm wearing today. And I just got a delivery of a bunch of them. So isn't it adorable? This will be available to purchase on my website. I got these to send to a few of my sewing pattern testers, and I wanted to show you. So it will be available in this beautiful dark mulberry color, but also in a forest green, and it says tea, sewing, and all things cozy. And then it has these adorable tea and sewing and crafting themed illustrations done by my friend Abigail, and I just absolutely love how it turned out. We've been working on this for a little while now, so this will be available to purchase over on my website, and you'll see it down in the bottom of the YouTube videos as well. And I think it's so perfect for the fall season, so definitely check it out if you're interested. I can't wait to put together these little cozy sewing boxes for my pattern testers. I also wanted to show you just a quick look at the shirt in the mirror. You can see this is actually one of my teapots that Abigail drew, and then there's a thimble, a teacup that also goes with the teapot, scissors, needle and thread, tea bag, and a little pin cushion. So I just love how everything looks together. It's so cute. All right, friends, I think that is going to be all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time here on my channel today. Let me know if you make any of these projects, because I would love to see your version. So leave a comment or tag me on Instagram or wherever you post whatever you work on. Thank you again to Trainwell so much for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check them out at the link down in the description box. And I hope you all are enjoying a wonderful fall season full of tea sewing and all things cozy, and I will talk to you in a new video very soon. Bye.